The chilling calls from beyond. In the early 1980s, a family in Centennial, Colorado, was thrown into a nightmare they couldn't escape. After the tragic loss of their teenage daughter in a terrible accident, they began receiving a series of disturbing phone calls that left them rattled. Imagine dealing with grief, only to have it amplified by the eerie, ghostly presence on the other end of the line. What started as silent calls would morph into something far more sinister and unexplainable. The phone calls began innocently enough, with just heavy breathing and long pauses. Most people would hang up, but for this family, it didn't stop there. Suddenly, the calls turned more personal, and an unsettling voice began to speak. And to their shock and horror, it sounded just like their deceased daughter. The voice would ask haunting questions such as, "Mommy, why won't you come find me?" and would whisper, "It's so cold down here." These messages dug deep into the hearts of her parents, turning their grief into something far darker. As the days turned into weeks, the calls continued, and every time their hearts sank a little lower. There was nothing comforting about hearing a voice you once loved, but knowing it's a ghostly echo, the haunting line. "Don't let them put me back," haunted them, leading to sleepless nights and endless worry for the family. It's a nightmare you wouldn't wish on anyone. The family eventually decided to seek help, turning to the police to report these distressing incidents. Investigators got involved, but tracing the origin of the calls proved to be a tough puzzle. They followed the leads of disconnected numbers and old payphones that had seen years of abandonment. As the team combed through phone records, they found strange irregularities. Some calls were time-stamped to occur before they were even made, making the whole situation seem like an intricate maze with no exit. Days turned into months, and the family couldn't take it anymore. They decided to move out of the house, hoping that leaving the past behind would help free them from the chains of their haunting experience. Can you imagine packing up and leaving everything behind, just to escape a voice echoing from the beyond? They traded their memories for sanity, a decision that speaks volumes about their desperation. Years later, new tenants moved into the home, only to discover that the phone calls didn't know how to stop. Just like the previous family, they began receiving midnight calls filled with the same eerie voice, always around 3 a.m., calling out to be found. It was as if the house itself had become a portal for grief and desperation, reaching out through time to find loved ones. Hearing the same voice saying, "Come home," sent chills down their spines, reminding them they were not alone in this haunting. Now let's switch gears a bit to something more curious. A technician who worked on the phone lines during this investigation had his own thoughts. He claimed that it wasn't just a technical glitch. To him, it felt like something was trying to be heard, but only by the family. Can you believe that? Something beyond our understanding, wanting to connect with those left behind. It was as if the calls were a way for the lost daughter to reach out in ways this world could not fully comprehend. The original family and the new tenants' experiences raise many questions. What truly happens after we lose someone we love? Do they linger in some form, trying to communicate with us? It leaves us pondering the mysteries of life and death, and whether the ties of love can transcend even the grave. As we wrap up our story today, think about the chilling nature of this phenomenon and what it means. Could it be that our loved ones are trying to tell us something? Or are these calls simply products of raw grief and love merging in strange and unexplained ways? Your thoughts and opinions matter, so feel free to share your insights or any similar experiences you've encountered in the comments below. Remember, life is full of mysteries, and sometimes the lines between love and loss can blur in ways we least expect.